Yellow Lawkers, welcome back to another video with me, Larissa. Sorry, I keep looking at myself in my little pop-up screen. So pretty. Okay, anyway, so today I am going to be going over something that I think is super important and something I love to talk about, and that is money. Honey. Okay, so I love budgeting. I love it so much, and I finally found a budget that works for me. And I'm in grad school right now, so I don't have a job. Well, I have a part-time job at the school, but you know, budgeting when you're in college is a difficult thing because you don't have a steady paycheck, like a real 40-hour work week paycheck. Usually there are some cases, but the point of it is I'm going to be going over what I do right now. And I just started this year. I watch a lot of budgeting YouTube videos, and I've kind of just picked and put them all together. I don't know what I'm doing with my hands. Put them all together into my own plan. And this is going to most likely be a very long video, and I'm just going to try to whip through things. And it's going to be the basics, but I also want it to be thorough enough for you guys to understand where I'm coming from. So with that being said, let's get to ballin' on a budget, Lawkward style. Also, I just want to say a disclaimer. Obviously, if you don't have to take out loans, do not take out loans. However, my situation and a lot of other people's situations results in them having to take out student loans and being in student loan debt. I do have a payoff plan, which I can go over later in a different video, but again, this is pretty much the realistic version of, yeah, majority of students have to take out student loans. Obviously, if you don't have to, don't. This is just what I'm doing. All right, so I'm gonna be taking you through this presentation because I'm a little nerd and I love PowerPoint presentations. So, ballin' on a budget, here we go. So I am a very type A person, and I do like to separate everything into its own category. So first of all, I have opened 6, and I feel like that's a really good minimum. I mean, do what works for you, but I have to have the separation just to make sure that I'm not spending out of my means, because that's what has happened to me in the past. I see it all my refund money in an account, and I'm like, I'm rich, let's go do this, let's buy this. And I always end up short when it comes to the end of the term. So I have to have that separation just to be like, okay, I have it there, but that's not the purpose that it's being used for. So keep that in mind, because 6 does seem excessive for some people. Going off to the accounts that I listed, so we have whatever income, so that could be your refund check, or it could be your paycheck, and that goes from paycheck from part-time work if you're working at school, or any form of income that you are getting where you are receiving money. Step 1. And that's going to go into a checking account called the hub, as I like to call it. This is where all my money comes in before it is dispersed into the many accounts or the many places that it needs to go. This is where all my payments come out, blah, blah, blah. That's why it's called the hub, and I'll get more in depth with them as well. First savings account is called the emergency fund. And then the second savings account is just a savings account. And again, we'll get into it. First or second checking account is the envelope method. And this is what I deem consumables and other account. And next is a gifts checking account. And then lastly is a slush fund checking account. Okay, let's get into what all of those mean and what to look for for a bank account to set up. Okay, so first, no monthly fees. Like, you should not be paying money to store your money for the bank. So like, I used to have a Wells Fargo account and it would charge me $10 if I didn't physically slide my card 10 times in a month. Like, what? And a good way to also get those fees lifted is just to give your bank a call and be like, hey, I've been a customer here for a while. Can I get these lifted? And if you're not brave enough, have your mom call, because that's what I did. Thanks, Mom. And then understanding the withdrawal limit. Is there a penalty for how many withdrawals you can have in a month? Like, savings accounts have those typically. The minimum amount you need to have in the account, whether it's $0, $5, $100, whatever. Know that, so then you don't get a fee charged to you. For savings accounts specifically, do you get interest on those accounts? And I'll get into that in a little bit. And then any maintenance fees that you need to have for that, whatever. Savings accounts, look for accounts that don't have monthly fees. Again, you shouldn't be paying money to store your money for the bank to use, because they're profiting pretty much. Okay. And look for a savings account that has a minimum of 1% interest, like a minimum. If you can get higher, that's amazing. But again, make sure it's no monthly fees, minimum 1%. You should be earning money to store your money at this bank. And a couple online banks that have a 1% or above minimum interest rate on a savings account is Ally, which is what I personally use, and USAA as well. And there's like a ton other, but those are just the ones that I personally know. I'll link it down below. You can check it out. And then having your savings account in a different bank, it creates less temptation to, like your savings and emergency, less temptation to pull that money from your regular account. Like I said, I use Ally, and I have my savings, my emergency, and my gifts fund. Since my gifts checking account is over there, I can easily transfer my money and use my card there. So that's an option for me as well, which I have had to do, unfortunately. Okay, and then finding incentives and deals with banks. Sometimes there will be accounts that you can open and they'll be like, ooh, if you sign up for this account, we'll give you $500. I haven't had that luck, but at the same time, like, there are those banks. But again, making sure that, again, there's no monthly fee. You get 1% interest and blah, blah, blah. Okay, so our first savings account, the emergency savings fund. And I talked a little bit about it before. Dave Ramsey has a great strategy of having a minimum of $1,000 in your emergency fund. So the purpose of the emergency fund is emergencies only, such as if you run over a burned out tire or an alligator on the freeway going 80 miles per hour in South Dakota and it rips your gas line out, you are covered and it won't set you back financially. How do I know this? It's just a hypothetical situation that has no tie to me whatsoever. That was sarcasm. I personally do not feel comfortable having just $1,000 in there. My minimum savings is about 3 months worth of emergency, plus keep adding 10% of my paycheck in there. So I personally like funnel all my money, and I'll tell you how I divide my money up, but I hit my minimum savings, and then after that, I put 10% of my paycheck in there. Ideally, I want to have about 6 to 12 months, and obviously my cost of living is going to increase as I get older, just due to a bunch of scenarios, let's just go with. So I'm always going to be putting 10% of my paycheck into my emergency fund, because like that hypothetical situation that could have really set me back. It costed about $1,040 to get that gas line replaced, just due to mainly labor. If I would have had $1,000 that in my emergency fund, it would have wiped it completely clean. So plus some. I wasn't set back any. I mean, yeah, obviously it's going to take me a little bit longer to up my savings goal, but I had it and that was a comfortable thing for me. So do what works for you. Savings account. The purpose is short-term emergency, so about 3 months or more. Again, I like to hit a 3-month saving target and then just continue to save up from there. This is also for pre-planned expenses such as a new car, appliances, a house, anything else adulty that is happening that I don't really worry about at the moment. And then unexpected expenses as well. You could, if it was an emergency, it could also be like a car repair. This is also for, you know, like those, like insurance. This is where I put my insurance money, since I only get charged bi-annually, as well as like any of my other subscriptions, because I just funnel that money in there so then I'm not hit all at once with having to come up with the money for subscriptions or insurance or anything like that, because it is pre-planned. I do know that it's coming at some point in the year, and that's a great way to put my money there, if that makes any sense. So like, let's say magically that I get my insurance total is $200. It's not, I don't know how much it is, it's a lot more. But let's say, yeah, it's a total of $200 for a year. I would save, you know, 6 months out of the year. I would put $100 aside, and the other 6 months I would put another $100 aside. $200, and didn't even think about it. It's kind of like that, just putting it in smaller chunks so then you know you have it. Savings account, how much to have in there. Again, I like to have minimum 3 months living expenses in there just in case something happens, but ideally I am personally working towards 6 to 12 months. And it's just like a nice little cushion for expenses, and you never stop depositing money in this account. And again, this is also, once I hit my minimum savings goal, I will then switch to start putting 10% of my paycheck into this account. So 10% of your paycheck goes in the emergency, 10% of your paycheck goes into your savings account. Okay. The hub checking, like I said earlier, it is where all the money comes in before it goes out to all the other places. So this is where you pay your bills, your utilities, your debt, your literally anything that's everything transfers into this account, goes out. Boom, done. And how much to have? I would say about enough to cover monthly expenses with a cushion of a month or two, just in case like you do use auto pay and you forget to transfer money into it. And then that way you're like, oh no, I overdrafted, and that would just be unfortunate. So I would say about 2 to 3 months of a buffer would be good. And again, that's like bills, utilities, any auto pay stuff would go through in there. Okay. Gifts checking account. I know this is kind of like a weirder one. Not weird, but one you don't really think of. This is exactly what it sounds like. It's for gifts. So it's birthdays, weddings, and anniversaries, the just because gifts, the retirement gifts, any occasion where there's an obligation to give a gift, I guess, or because your love language is gifts and you just can't help yourself. This makes sure that you can still afford a really wonderful gift to someone that you love, and it won't break your banks. And also in case like a birthday party comes up and you totally forgot about it and you didn't go get a gift, but you don't have enough in your budget for it. This just makes sure that you do have money going towards gifts. Also like any holiday gifts. This way you're not getting hit all at once with all of those expenses of an aggressive amount of presents. And you know, the holidays are just such a beautiful but also kind of money tight time, and you just want to relieve some of that pressure off of yourself. What I put into this one is you can put anything, but I typically put, again, 10% into this account as well, 10% of my paycheck into this account as well. The envelope checking account. So if you are familiar with the envelope method, I'm sorry if this is like a regurgitation of it and you just don't want to hear it. So the envelope method is a method of budgeting where you take an envelope and you write on the envelope what the money is used for, and then you take out cash, the cash envelope method, and you take out cash and you divide your money into all these little envelopes, and that's your allotted envelope for the week or for the month or whatever you use it for. I don't know about you guys, but like I buy everything pretty much online for majority of it. So I can't be going to the bank every 20 seconds to withdraw and then put back in. Like that is, ain't nobody got time for that. Okay. So I use the envelope method digitally. So what I do is I take, and I'll show this to you as well. I take a sheet that I personally print off and I divide it into two categories, grocery and other. And grocery means consumables. I just did a typo. So consumables, the purpose of the consumables is to cover determined consumables such as your groceries, your gas, your eating out, your regularly consumed items. Okay, and then how much to have, it depends on your budget. My consumables budget, I do weekly, and I spend about 140 a week is what I have, but I have a little extra sometimes. But 140 I am comfortable with in my consumables budget. And again, I'm a single person who that's all I have to worry about. So if you need to increase or decrease your expenses, that's on you. And then the other category of this envelope checking is the purpose is to cover determined personal expenses. Like budgeting should not, it's kind of like a diet, not even a diet, a lifestyle. You should be able to enjoy your life, okay? Instead of always freaking out about money. But if you have a plan and you stick to that plan, then you can achieve it. So the other is to, still allow yourself to have the ability to enjoy living. It's, again, covered, determined personal expenses, such as I use mine for mainly movies. I go to the movies almost every week and it's like $6. So I know that's super cheap, but student deals. Anyway, so movies, concerts, anything fun, like even going out and getting a drink with a friend or something, your lifestyle kind of determines what you spend it on. And then how much to have, and again, it depends on your budget. I do 60 a week, and majority of the time I don't even come close to that because school takes over my life. But again, it is nice to have in case, like, for some reason a group of us goes and plays Topgolf or goes to a festival or something. It is always great to have. And then the really fun account that is great is the slush fund checking account. So the purpose is the fun money, and it's the extras from the envelope, okay? So when I say fun money, I don't mean like you're going out for a night on the town. No, I mean like I put mine towards a trip. I've gone on 2 trips so far just by saving the extras into my slush fund account. This account, you do need to have a plan for it, because if not, you're going to spend it on trivial things or whatever. So again, I used mine for vacations. I also bought a new laptop with it. It's like a treat yourself account. But yes, have a plan for it. The amount that you put in there depends on how much you don't spend in your envelope account or for the week or whatever. Okay, so the minimum financial checklist. do these things first at a minimum amount that you set to save yourself in the future. So again, that is, I can't stress this enough. First, meet your emergency fund goal. So my emergency fund goal was a 3 months expenses, okay? So that's my minimum. And that's what I'm shoveling all my extra money into. And then once that was met, I switched over to just putting 10% of my paycheck into the emergency fund, switched that over to shoveling as much money as I could into my savings account. And then once that is met, I'll be paying off my debt. So how to create a budget. You're gonna open up an Excel sheet or grab a piece of paper and you're gonna calculate your monthly expenses. So that means your living expenses, which falls rent, utilities, and that envelope method, consumables, and other. Like how much do you need to survive? And any subscriptions that you have, Netflix, Spotify, Amazon Prime, any of that. Any loan payments that are not on hold at the moment, do you have any of those coming in? That could be like a car payment, it could be student loans, it could be anything. And then anything left over should go to priority number 1, emergency fund. And then priority number 2, savings fund. And then priority number 3, loan repayments. Paycheck division. So let's say we're working on priority number 1, getting your emergency fund up and running and filtering as much money as we can into that. So we're going to put 10% into our savings account, 10% into our gifts account, and then put 10% into whatever loan you are working on. And if all your other ones are on hold, I'm again just doing this one at a time kind of basis. So I'm just trying to get rid of one loan, so then when they do come off hold, I will have less loans. Maybe. Anyway, so again, we're putting 10% into savings, gifts, and whatever loan that you want. Next up, take the remainder of your paycheck and put it into the emergency fund. And that's where that's going to funnel. Obviously, if you are living off your paycheck, you need to deduct your other living expenses off of this. For me personally, I have to live off my student loans. So I have my student loans divided up for my consumables and living expenses and such. You can definitely, you should, if you actually are living off of a paycheck, deduct your living expenses off of your paycheck. Then 10% goes into savings, 10% goes into gifts, 10% or whatever payments. Then the remainder goes into whatever account you're shoving it all into. So emergency account, for instance. So the remainder extra goes into the emergency fund. That was a really crappy way of explaining it. Regardless, if you're funneling all your money into one account, you still want to do 10%, 10%, 10%, or whatever amount that you feel extra. All right, again, going with that envelope method, I'm just going to show you how I structure mine. So I have a weekly budget that I put at the top of right under the headers, so under grocery and other. And just for the sake of math, I just put $100 under each category. So what you're going to do is mark off the amount after each purchase in whatever category it is in. And every week it's going to start fresh. I start my weeks, my financial weeks on Thursdays, just because I get paid on Thursdays, and also I grocery shop on Fridays. And this way I know that I have money and it's going to be used to get the stuff that I need out of the way first. So then that way whatever's left over, well, I can typically do whatever with. So just a little side tip. So you're going to mark down all your purchases. So if you go to Cub and you spend $55, your remainder is $45 in that account. And then you go to Target right after that and spend $25, which would be magical. Regardless, you would have $20 remaining in the grocery account. And then on the other, let's say you go to a movie for $10, subtract that, you still have $90. Go to Target for not just for like candles and journals and calligraphy and all that, like the fun stuff, and you spend $60, and then you would have $30 remaining, which means at the end of the week, if that's all you spent, you would have $50 to put towards your slush fund, which is awesome. So if you run out of money, let's say you run out of money in one of the categories, like what do you do now? Instead of borrowing down, you borrow side to side. So you borrow from consumables, or you borrow from other, such as, like, let's say you go to Cub, you spend $55. You go to Target, you spend $25. And this is under your consumables budget. So you have $20 left over, which is awesome. And now let's say in the other, you bought concert tickets for $55. You went to Target or Hobby Lobby or something, and you spent $25. And then you also really wanted those really cute Gymshark leggings, and they were on sale for $35. But oh crap, you are short. You're short money. You're short $15. What do? You grab $15 from the grocery or consumable side, pull it over, and there you have a zeroed out amount. And you still have $5 left over for the remaining amount, which is awesome. Okay. Yes, again, remaining amount goes to slush fund, borrow side to side, not up and down. Okay, loan payoff methods. I need a sip of water for this one. There are so many different loan payoff methods. There is the snowball method, the avalanche method, and the mathematical method. So the snowball method has been made popular by Dave Ramsey, and that is to get a quicker gratification of paying off your loans to just keep you motivated. So what that one does is you take all your loan amounts. So for me, it will be my student loan amounts. You'll list them all out, and then you're going to sort them from lowest amount to highest amount. So this is just like the dollar amount. How much do you owe on them? Okay, and you're sorting them low to high. The avalanche method, which focuses on less accruing interest. Okay, so overall you're going to pay less money on this method. And this is going to, instead of taking your dollar amount, you're going to take your interest amount, and you're going to arrange your loans from the highest interest down to the lowest interest amount, and you're going to pay off that way. In the mathematical one, it's just going to take you longer, but it takes care of your bigger loans first down to your smaller loans. So example on the snowball and avalanche method. So again, you're lining up your loans, and I put interest first and then the amount, the same principle thing. So you figure out what your minimum monthly payment is for each loan. So that's important. What is your minimum monthly payment? And look at the minimum interest monthly payment, okay? Because the majority of your money will not be going towards the actual principal amount. So what is the minimum payment of your loan that, like, so interest isn't accruing, I guess, is what I'm saying. The minimum interest amount. Makes 0 sense. Okay, and let's just say that each of these 4 loans, the minimum monthly payment is $100. So again, lining up your loans in either avalanche method, which is highest interest to lowest interest, or the snowball method, which is lowest dollar amount to highest dollar amount. And you're gonna take the first one you're paying off, whatever method you choose. You're gonna pay $100 on all of them. And then you're gonna take whatever you can manage left over. For example, I put $300 in this example. You're gonna pay that first loan off, and you're gonna continue paying $300 every month until it's gone. You're going to then take that $300 that you were paying towards loan number one, and you're gonna pay that $300, move it down to loan number two, and that's gonna help you pay $400. Whew. And then you're just gonna continue that cycle. So you get done with loan number two, you take that $400, add it on to loan number three's $100, you're paying $500. Then loan number four, keep moving down. And so you're still paying the exact same amount every month. Like, you should be able to do this because you have budgeted for it. You know that. So that whatever monthly payment you have, it's like it never existed. But then you'll be debt free, hopefully. And that'll be exciting. Figure out which one works for you, which one works for your personality type. I am a personal fan of both the snowball and the avalanche. I am doing the avalanche method at the moment just because those interest rates really, really get you. Do what works for you. If you need that quicker gratification of paying off the lower interest loans, do it. But again, that is also saying when you funnel that money, that is also after you have built yourself a nice little cushion in your emergency and savings fund. I know that it's painful and it's annoying, but at least you have that to fall back on in case you lose your job, you get injured, all of that, and you can't make your monthly student payment loans because you didn't have anything saved up and now you're not making any money. Okay, so the key points that I really want to hammer home are, let me get situated. Have an emergency and savings fund. Minimum 3 months expenses in each, okay? Just do it. Trust me on this. And then know what you are spending. Track it. If you are trying to lose or gain or maintain your weight, you need to track your calorie expenditure. So why wouldn't you do that with your money? Like, it's incoming, it's going away, mainly going away. So track your spending. It's a pain in the butt, but just do it. End of discussion. And then start paying off your debt, even if it's just a little bit at the moment. Again, that was one of my biggest regrets from my undergraduate is I tried to pay stuff off, but I would get flustered, didn't know which one to pay off, and now here I am. It's still in school, still accruing debt with my undergrad debt. Awesome. But yes, a little something. Just try to figure out what the minimum interest amount is or to pay off the principal and start making payments as much as you can. Lastly, get a side hustle if possible. Unfortunately, my side hustle is my student job and I live off my loans. But if you can do better than me, please do better than me. Yeah, any form of income. I sell my clothes off on Poshmark. So this is going to be part one because it's already atrociously long because my camera has overheated twice now. So I will be doing a part two. All right, thank you for joining me for part one of my budgeting method, Ballin on a budget, Lawkward style. Yeah, remember to like this video if you found it useful, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell so you are notified when I upload new videos. Comment any questions, concerns, anything else down below, what your tips and tricks are, if you will. Thank you so much for watching and have an awesome day. Respect others, respect yourself, and do something amazing with your day. Thank you.